Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guest. Just a pinch between the cheek and gum. Satisfaction. Just a pinch between the cheek and gum. Now, when I moved to North Texas in the early 1980s, everybody there, I say everybody, at least all the guys did Copenhagen. And of course, you guys know me, I wanted to fit in, right? I wanted to fit in for sure. So I really worked hard to develop this habit. I started off with some like cherry flavored, bubblegum flavor, whatever. But then eventually, I was very persistent. I established this habit, right? This was such a great habit of mine back then. You know, when I first went into it, I was just nauseated. I was just absolutely miserable. But I was fortunate enough in my mind at the time to establish this habit. It was just a very bad situation, but I did it. Now, as time went on, I realized that this was really a bad habit. But I can tell you back then, when I would go in the mornings, what better way to start the day than a dip in the shower, right? What better way to start the day than a dip after, what better way to start the day than a dip after lunch, right? And pure satisfaction after a steak meal, Copenhagen was there. So decade after decade went by. The 80s went by, the 90s went by, and then in the year 2000, the fall of 2000, I was able to associate a very negative event with this Copenhagen habit. And that's what I'm going to ask you guys to do. Associate a very negative event with a nasty habit, right? So you guys heard me talk about it last time. My dog, Willie, passed away in the fall of 2000. And I was in there in the vet, talking with the vet, and I realized that my dog had developed just a massive tumor. And we all know what it's like to put a dog down. It's just so terrible. And I was there in the room with this, experiencing this with my dog, and I put my dog down. And as I was leaving the vet's office, I truly associated the situation, the tumor that had grown in Willie, and using this terrible product and what that would do to me, right? You know, I'm not going to develop cancer because of this, is what I told myself. I'm not going to develop my jaw being removed because of this. And at that very moment in time, I was able to kick the habit. It was just a very difficult decision, but I made it. So if you look at it, what year is it? It's 2018. That's a long span of time this has gone by. I'll tell you that as the years have gone by, when I'm cutting the grass, sometimes when I go down there to visit my friends in Texas, and they're still doing this stuff, I was able to break that habit. So my mission to you guys is, if you have a bad habit like that, associate a very negative outcome with that, right? Associate a negative outcome of continuing to use this bad habit. For example, you might have a bad habit at work, right? So you might have a bad habit of maybe not getting along with somebody, but address the situation, right? Address the situation, and don't be passive about it. Don't let the months and years go by, because you might say to yourself, if I do this, what will be the outcome for my situation? The outcome really might be a very negative situation for your job. So as we go into the new year, figure out what your bad habits are, address those bad habits, and take action on those habits, and you'll be really thankful for it as you go into the new year and future years. So with that, Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you very much for your time today.